most people see it as, okay, I will fail or I will win. Right. But the thing is, failing is not a thing if you won't stop, right? So if you just keep like pushing and let's say working towards the thing that you want, that eventually failing doesn't exist then. And that's also with me, and I think as well with you.
What's up, guys? It's Harrison Coley, the seven-figure social media CEO, and I'm here with the one and only Carlos Alessandro. Carlos Alessandro is the #1 dropshipper in the Norwegian area of the world. We're here in Amsterdam right now, and we're going to talk a bit about e-commerce, managing money, and mindset that goes into being a high performer at, 22 years old?
Yes, 22.
What a beast, man. Super impressive. Super impressed by you. Okay. I guess it would be great to start with just what really was that? I would love to know, and this may be too personal of a question. Feel free to just go ahead. What was a moment out of your childhood that you feel like has defined you as a person, like a character-making moment for you that you remember from your childhood?
What I think is always with me right now of my childhood is like I've had a very good childhood. Was no like very dramatic experiences.
You know, you're 22 years old. You've done all these incredible things with 4 years of nonstop in the gym. What an incredible like thing to do. And you have $3 million of revenue, over $3 million of revenue just as a drop shipper. What do you think has gotten, like, what was the defining moment in your childhood that's led you to where you are now?
Yeah, a thing that's always with me was the moment that when I fell my throat. Basically a moment where I almost died. Like 2 minutes I would have been died. I would have been dead. So there was there was something, even though I was very small, I still remember it, right? It was like a dramatic experience, but besides that, what I gained from it as well is that, I was very short and you have to, that's very like general, but it is true, you have to, in this world, there are so many opportunities nowadays, and if you're not, let's say, tapping into something that, let's say, lays maybe in front of you, because like opportunities are right now are everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. So if you don't do stuff right now in life, then it's all about you, because of you, not because of, let's say, the circumstances or whatever. Yeah, that's something that I've
trying to met. Yeah, like near-death experience. No, how old were you when?
Oh, I was 7.
Wow. Okay, so and having a life or death experience or near-death experience at such a young age, the main reasons that you look so much for opportunities here now, and you're so in the present moment, like you're attacking life in such an ambitious way.
Yeah, look, I've always I always have my goal in front of me, so I know where I'm working towards for the future. But I also do know that you need to live right now as well, right? Because even though I'm very focused still and I'm just putting in work, I also do know there is way more possible. So in order to, let's say, get those things, you need to put it in work first. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Good. Besides that, it's also about, let's say, how much you're willing towards, let's say, grow towards a specific point where you want to be. And if you don't achieve that thing, that's also because of you, not because of, let's say, someone else, not putting in the stuff. Because eventually, like you said as well, it's learning. You will learn or you will win, right? And most people see it as, okay, I will fail or I will win. Right? But the thing is, failing is not a thing if you won't stop, right? So if you just keep like pushing and, let's say, working towards the thing that you want, that eventually failing doesn't exist then. And that's also with me, and I think as well with you. We don't, and failing is a non-existing thing. That's the first thing.
Just lesson.
Yeah. The second thing is also a very close as a relationship with my parents, right? Okay. For example, I was playing soccer, and my father and my mother as well, they were always like supporting me, always. And I appreciate that like from the bottom of my heart. If I was, let's say, doing something wrong, there was also a lesson that I learned from my father unconsciously, because he was always the one who was screaming, like, limbers from the sideline. And but like, he's Spanish, so he has a lot of temperament, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah. So even though I didn't like it from the beginning, it teaches me a lesson, because the thing was, if I was not like performing well, I could still work. I could still like give my 100% in order to achieve, let's say, maybe a team goal or a goal for myself, right? To give my all. If I was not doing that, it was lacking, then I knew it like within a second, because he was really,
you had on external feed.
Yeah, exactly. That's also something that I take with me right now. Even though I could have an off day, everybody could have an off day, right? Right. But you can still put in the work to make it like the best, let's say, to get circumstances maybe not with you, but you can still make it the way you want. You can create it.
That's an off day is easy. What's hard is giving 100% when you only feel like 30.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you wake up and you're not in your best mood, or you had a terrible day yesterday, it's like, those are the days that, those are the character defining.
You can still work, that's basically where you outwork the other 99%.
Right. Yeah. Because 99% will stop other me.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. And show up anyways. What do you think that you've built this character over time? Like you're talking about your dad giving that feedback while you're playing soccer. Like, what do you do to maintain this discipline and this like a sense of character where you show up even on your worst days?
Yeah. So the thing is, if I won't show up like on the days that I don't feel about it, it goes automatic right now that I think about it. Okay, that what would, let's say, what would I do if I, for example, was feeling 100%, or if I, let's say, take a look at it maybe 5 years later, what would I have gained on those days that I'd still do it while not feeling about doing it? That's basically the days, that's making the difference. Because if you lack, or if you, let's say, you're cheating, eventually it will hunt you in the long term. If you don't cheat, nothing can stop you. You're unstoppable, right? Because you're still doing the work even though you don't feel like it. That's the thing with going to the gym. Do you think I like to go to the gym ever? No, but I still do it because that's also reflecting back a part of your identity.
I think you just dropped a nugget of what would I do if I felt my best?
Yeah.
What would I do if I was showing up at 100%?
Yeah.
What would I, look back and like be proud of?
Yeah. Sometimes it's irrelevant how you feel about it.
At the end of the day, man, it's like if you have a target, you know what you're working towards. I truly believe that, and I'm a religious man. I don't know if you are, but I truly believe that God and the devil both test us in our better.
Yeah, and they're small.
And it's usually the opposite. Like God tests our conviction to follow him in our lowest of lows. And to me, the devil tests us at our highest highs.
Yeah.
But like, do you need more? Do you need more? That's the devil speaking.
Yeah.
Versus like, are you going to quit? That's usually.
And once let's say your time was over here, right? How would you like to look back at your life?
Right.
Was that with like regret, or is that with proud, right? Being proud of yourself and your, let's say, the thing that you did to grow.
And
right?
do you think that that near-death experience at 7 years old shaped the way you see life and death and looking back with?
Yeah. Basically, I saw that, I even was in coma, or bro, then you see life completely different. Even though it was very small, I was still conscious of what I was going through, right?
Yeah, that's so intense, man. That's so intense. And to experience that at such a young age, that definitely, that shaped your mindset for sure. Wow, man, that's really impeccable.
How did I do that? Have you also had, let's say, life experience maybe?
Yeah, I've had a few brushes with the other side and just with our mortality. Yeah, I've had a few experiences that really make you question, what am I doing? The one that is most present to me, there's two. I had a car accident that was really bad, and that made me really question what I was doing. But the moment that I always go back to is when I was 16, I was rafting with a friend, and I got flipped out of the raft flipped backwards, and we both ended up in the water, and I got stuck underneath the rock in the rapids. And so I was getting like washing machine in a rapid, and so I can't get up for water, and I'm fighting, and I just can't get out. And I vividly remember, like, because I'm like, and I started blacking out, and I was just like, I couldn't fight it anymore, and I was like, God, just get me out of this, and I'll believe in you for the rest of my life. And at that point, I didn't have a good relationship with God or the universe or whatever source you want to call it. I didn't have a relationship with faith per se. And as I'm blacking out, I come out and I wake up above the water. I'm like, all right, that's it. And I was like in a funk for like 3 weeks because at this point I was still living a life that wasn't, I didn't have integrity. I wasn't someone that was like a compassionate person. I was like just doing anything for $1, like that in like instant gratification. Like, right. Like I'm just like, let me eat the saltiest and sweetest foods possible. Let me sleep in as late as possible. And like, let me do the bare minimum. Living at home. I mean, I was 16, so of course, but that was definitely the wake up call for me.
But those things that will shape you, right? And yes, if you had that experience that or something else, let's say that you in a moment maybe, let's say, don't feel like it, or that you don't, let's say, very happy with. That's basically the change maybe sometimes you need. But people are nowadays, and with phones, they are all skipping on those things. They are like distracted so much,
right?
And they want to, let's say, walk away from reality sometimes.
I think we don't have enough. We don't have. Of course we do. I don't think we give ourselves enough space to process. Like, nuts for you. They were so overstimulated. 8 hours a day on the phone, 8 hours a day at work, like
dopamine hits.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like at the end of the day, our phone can release chemicals in our brain the same as drugs.
Yeah.
And so it's like as if we're all walking around as drug addicts. Like, check my notifications.
You can use this as well, like your advantage.
Yeah, it's a tool, right? Let's say it's like, you said this earlier while we were right after lunch. You said every pro has a con and every con has a pro.
Yeah.
And this is really like a superpower. It's like our nuclear technology. We can use it for really clean energy, the advantage, or we can destroy civilization. So it's like, what are we going to use it as? Yeah. Such an interesting little thing. It's such a dangerous level. I'd love to close out with a question moving back into your industry and what you do on a day-to-day.
Yeah.
Where do you see e-commerce industry going and just the dropshipping industry specifically in the next couple of years?
Yeah, good question. Look, the thing is, dropshipping, of course, is not the same, for example, if you compare it to, let's say, 2017, 2018, 2019, the peak years where the hype was there, where the hype is now gone, as most people are, let's say, not talking about it anymore. But that's basically the thing. 90% of the people quit contender state, so there are way more opportunities from my perspective right now. That's all about perspective. With dropshipping and e-commerce in general, the only thing that you need to be aware of is that dropshipping is not the same anymore. So what you need to do, for example, is you need to stand out from your competitors. How you do that is you completely market yourself different, so you have better, let's say, marketing creatives. Of course, you cannot, let's say, put something online and you expect to go, then goes viral.
You're not gonna make it out Microsoft Paint.
Nah, it's not the work anymore. No. But if you do that, then you can see long-term results. Everybody is buying online, is getting, more familiar by time. And the internet will always be there. If you see it from a way of, this is something that's like not going to work, eventually it will not work because you don't believe it. But if you believe it and you're also going to be behave that way then, and you're actually willing to put in the work and not, let's say, only for the short-term pleasures,
right?
Then you will see long-term results.
Right. So if you're using dropshipping as a long-term skill set to build wealth over time, you're probably going to make it.
Yeah.
As if you're like, I'm going to make $100,000 in my first one.
Yeah. But people, they are thinking about, let's say, way more short term right now, as I said, because of the fact that, their customer base, they don't focus on the customers. So that's the first thing. If customer satisfaction is very important right now in order to, let's say, something long term that's sustainable.
Right.
Or let's say, that
would be like in the next few years, you're seeing you're expecting better customer service.
You have to. Otherwise, if you're not adapting, then you will never see results anymore.
Right.
Yeah. The world is around you is consistently chasing. So you have to, let's say, adapt, or let's say you will fail if you start.
It's adapt or die, right?
Yeah.
I heard this statement, and I think you might resonate with it. You're either growing or die. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah,
you're either green and growing or ripe and rotting.
Yeah, and there's no standing still.
No, there's no such thing. No. The universe is always in motion. I guess just short and sweet market predictions. Are you gonna see better customer service? Do you think stores are gonna be more branded or more one-off, higher competition? Or what do you see just generally market movements?
Yeah, you have to brand it because that's, let's say, the way how you separate yourself. So, for example, also doing product research, you need to do something different than the competitors are doing.
Okay.
If you're doing the same thing, you will see the same results. Right. So you need to think outside of the box in order to see if let's say, to attract the 1% result or the 0.01%. That's what you want. Otherwise, you will, still be average.
Do you see AI having a significant impact on your job and your industry?
I'm not very scared of it because I am very unique in what I do and what I teach. So I can say that I'm not very scared of it. Only if you're, let's say, doing the things, like I said, what others are doing, then it's replaceable. Right. But if you're unique, if you have, let's say, something that no one is doing or very little people are doing, then it's very hard to copy because this is all based on, let's say, experience from the past 4 years plus my own vision on it. Right. And if you just keep developing yourself, because eventually, it's all about, let's say, growing yourself as a person, because you cannot outgrow your business. Let's say your business will never outgrow yourself. So you need to further develop yourself. Yeah. In order to have let's say, the business at the same level as you.
Well said.
So that's why it all starts with, let's say, continuously and consistently, let's say, growing yourself as a person.
Right. Mindset, consistent.
Yeah. This is education. That's the most important part. And eventually your business will grow that's just a reflection of you.
Yeah. It's like you can only, if all you have is a hammer, it's going to take you a certain timeline to build a house.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. That's so key. Would you say AI is going to be positive or negative? Do you see it as a tool, or do you see it as almost
And there are a lot of pros because, for example, copywriting, you can have, let's say, ChatGPT now, right? It's going to write the copies for you. It's way easier. You can have, for example, let's say, creating your creatives, like video creatives, product creatives. You could put an image or several images into a system, and they will produce you a video just for free. But there are so many things right now that are good with AI that can help you grow the business instead of looking at it from a way of, again, with perspective on a negative side of a con, if you think you're replaceable. So that's how I see it.
That's huge.
Yeah.
How do you start your day, and what energy do you like to get into work with?
Yeah. So I completely switched the way how I started, let's say, since 1 month ago. I do very consistent already, but what I switched was basically the way how I wake up. So first of all, it's very important. The most important thing, what people don't do too much right now, is they don't, let's say, set the intention for the next day. That's the most, people always think, okay, how do you start your day? But how you start your day is already a part of how you ended the last day. Because let's say your sleep cycle, let's say that's the thing that already determines how you wake up, but that you set the intention before you go to bed.
Like you go to bed drunk at 2 a.m.
Yeah, what do you expect?
Right, you're gonna wake up in your peak performance at 6 a.m.
Yeah, no, not go to average. No, so yeah, yeah. For example, when I'm waking up at 5 and I go bed, let's say at 10 or 11, before I, let's say, even am in bed, I first of all, I'm someone who likes to, let's say, a gratitude, but like real gratitude, like not just for the sake of sake.
Right, so you're not just listing.
No, and everything that I, for example, the intention that I set for myself is based on like the real gut feeling that I have, how I went through the day, what I can improve on, in order to become 1% better the next.
Right.
So that's also how I wake up, and always with the feeling of, okay, it's going to be a great day, but feeling it, like not just saying it. Yeah, with the back straight. That's just how I start.
What's your morning look like? How do you start your day?
Yeah, so wake up at 5. Then I just do my morning routine. That's looking like, okay, doing first like a workout for like 30 minutes or something. Just pushing up, doing sit-ups. Let's say that's the basement. Let's say, first of all, let's say get blood. That's going on the body. Yeah, exactly. That's the most important part. Brushing my teeth. Just cleaning myself, and from that point at 6, I always go like for a walk with my dog, just get some fresh like air, and then I'm ready to crush it like at 6:15 or 6:30.
Okay.
When I start and work basically until I hit the gym. Right after the gym, I basically break my fast. So I'm fasting, right?
Intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's basically how I start, and then I just hit the gym, and then I of course have, let's say, the first meal of the day, go back to work, and then have, let's say, more of reactive work, because the deep work I won't do in the morning, because I can like work for 4 or 5 hours straight.
Yep.
And get like everything done for the whole day basically, but I just fill it up because I have more time left, right?
Yeah.
Then I have more reactive work by having calls with clients, or let's say do other stuff that's more like reactive. Yeah. Exactly. So just the necessary things, but the things that, let's say, not you don't want to do it, let's say, in the morning where I am the most productive. That's just person.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then I have, of course, dinner just with my family, what is also very important, of course. And eventually I start up my day. Let's say I end the day with just, let's say, some more deep work, as my best hours are in the morning or late in the evening when it's dark outside. And I can just like focus without, let's say, having too many hits of, let's say, social media or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually find the exact same. I think that I'm most productive when 2 things happen. I'm most productive when I'm in a routine.
Yeah.
So like when the things are just routine, and I'm also most productive when nobody's bothering me or when I don't have distractions.
Yes.
So I love to, like the first 2 to 4 hours of my workday, even set my phone at a different room where I told you, outside, out of sight, out of mind. Exactly. And then you can just like jam, like Slack is closed. I have no notifications on my computer. It's like I'm just going to put in my music and focus and get deep work done. And then at the end of that, like no matter what happens, no matter what comes up with clients or with your team, you're already ahead, right? Because you've already like moved the boulder forward. You're already 1% better in the business.
Yeah, exactly.
How much do you invest in your education? Like how much time, energy, resources are you putting towards like just getting better as a human?
Yeah, so I always want to have, let's say, a coach around me who's, let's say, in a different, maybe in a different area, is teaching me the things that I maybe might be lacking of right now. And so I always want to have like coaches around me, because I do believe, developing yourself and let's say becoming better as a person is not something that you do once, but that's you become better in life by doing that also like consistent. I always want to grow myself in every area. So therefore, I do know I can always, let's say, become better at everything that I'm doing, and not, let's say, standing still, because then we are like, we are not going, we're not moving forward, but we fall back. That's all we want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That goes to what we spoke about in the first episode. You're in it green and growing or ripe and rotting. You got to be moving forward. This makes me think of like transformation is not a destination, but a process.
Yeah.
Right. You're always going through it. And so what's your methodology in investing in coaches, courses, or are you just like listening to a bunch of podcasts? Like kind of what's your strategy to make sure that you're putting your attention at the right places?
Yeah, I always focus on, let's say, consuming things that's like in line with my goal, always.
Absolutely.
That's the most important part for me. Besides that, I always like to as well develop myself in other things where maybe I will learn from, maybe not, but eventually it can still benefit you later on. So for example, I think it's very important to, let's say, develop yourself in different areas, except of the thing that you only want. Doesn't mean that you have to, let's say, put money into that specific thing that you're like willing to learn, but it's just developing yourself as a person, and that is way more important than, let's say, have another intention with only focusing on getting money in by focusing on the thing you want.
I think you're also then mitigating the the danger of being one-dimensional.
Yeah.
You're not just investing in e-com courses, but you're investing in maybe like fitness and mindset and spirituality.
Yeah.
All of these different dimensions.
Because all of those things are in line with your goal. Because you have, let's say, 4 things in what's very important in life is health, wealth, love, and happiness, right?
Absolutely.
So with those 4 things, that has to be like one. It's not something. If you're lacking health, you will never have wealth, love, or happiness, because it still all starts with, let's say, being healthy.
Yes.
Because you can be like you can do very well business, but if you don't have your health, you have nothing.
Have you ever heard that old adage, a man with health has 1,000 wishes?
Yeah.
And a man without health has one.
Yeah.
And that's it literally all starts with your health.
Yeah.
If you're not, and that's like something when people ask me, they're like, what happened? Like, oh, you're an overnight success or whatever it is. How can I do what you're doing? How can I be successful like you? How can whatever? The questions are always like, how can I do that? How can I make more money? And I always start with get your health right.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're putting the wrong food into your body, if your sleep routine is shit, if you're not moving, if you're getting drunk every night, smoking a bunch of pot, whatever it is, watching porn every day, you can't think clearly because your inputs they're clouding your system, they're clogging your system. And so it's like if you don't have a clean input and a clean filter, like exercise, meditation, journaling, these things are filtered. Right? Like people think it's like, oh well, journaling will make me rich. No, but it'll make you think more clearly to make better decisions, which will lead you to better luck.
Yeah, and to give an example, for example, if you're, for example, throw shit stuff in your body by just consuming junk food or whatever, what do you expect to have, let's say, a healthy body?
Right.
That's the exact same thing.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It's like if you eat McDonald's every day, do you really expect your body to like turn that into? That's that whole thing. Like you can't turn a pile of shit into a pile of gold. Like I'm sorry, but your inputs really do become your outputs, and that goes to your environment, right? Speaking of, I'm very intentional of the content I consume based on my goal. It's like, what type of media am I watching? What type of entertainment am I engaging in? What kind of food am I, who am I hanging out with? Like, what are all of these inputs? Because they all affect, like, how productive you are in business. And I love what you say of, like, all 4 feed into one. Yeah. I look at it as overall life satisfaction would be, let's say, like, the top of the house. Yeah. And then you have the pillars, right? Your health is a pillar. Your mindset is a pillar. Your wealth or your money. Because, like, the whole thing of money doesn't buy happiness. Yes, it does, to a degree, right? Like, if you have a bunch of money and you hate your life and you eat shitty food, you're still going to, be miserable. But if you have a bunch of money and you're using it for good, right? Like, you're using your money to build a better body, to get closer to God, to impact your community, to serve your family, to protect those around you, to make the world a better place. But that sounds a lot like
you can be rich, but if you're poor here, that's the reflection of how you behave also on a daily basis.
Bingo. Yeah. And that's a fast way to lose your money, right?
Yeah.
It's like the tricky thing. I'm actually on that, like being poor up here versus like a wealthy versus poor mindset or energy. How do you handle your money as a 7-figure producer, 22 years old? Are your goals long term? Are you investing your money into like? I'd love to hear how you're managing your money as a 7-figure producer at 22.
Yeah. So to be honest, like I said, I needed to get focused more, let's say, compared to last year, because I was basically distracted by other things. Consciously or unconsciously, I was investing my time into specific things that I didn't need to invest in, and eventually that was like reflecting back on the business that already did well. So I invested, for example, my money for the sake of investing, because I always think there's a return. There is, in terms of learning or in terms of weight. Is that in line with, let's say, we want to be as a person, or let's say the thing that you want to attract? If not, then you shouldn't be investing that specific thing right in the beginning. But so right now I'm way more conscious of, let's say the coaches that I have with me, or the people who are surrounding me with, of course. And what I do right now is what I want to do is this year I want to set up a brand. So what that means is like really having a brand that first of all has like a good set of customer satisfaction, what most of the people on dropshipping, for example, don't focus. And that's one of the things where most people fail in dropshipping, because they treat it like short term. They put everything on the front end but nothing into the back end. And if you want to have, let's say, for example, regarding your question long term, you need to have something, let's say, where people are happy about. Let's say that when, for example, if you think about, or you have 2 brands, you have Pepsi, you have Coca-Cola. If you say, okay, if you go to a bar, can I have a cola? Because that's the brand. So that's basically where people are thinking about. Yes. So you need to have something basically where that you're, let's say, the number one in the market. You need to control the market. Right. And if you do that, then eventually, you cannot, get around it. Because if you think about a phone, or you think about an iPhone, stuff about the Samsung, or however, how good it might be. But this is just a brand identity. And
creating what people either ask for, can I have a Coca-Cola, or they say, can I have a Pepsi? They don't ask for, it's can I have a Coke or can I have a Pepsi? It's not, can I have a cola? No, brand loyalty.
Yeah, exactly. So I think branding is the future for sure. Yeah, but that's based on what kind of like audience you build. If you don't have an audience, you have nothing you can build on, right? So first of all, you need to know, okay, what kind of product, because eventually it's all about your product. What kind of customer satisfaction do you have in order to, let's say, have returning customers? Because you can, in e-commerce, there are two things. You can acquire customers every single time. Like you have new customers every single time where you have to rely on with dropshipping, most of the dropshippers are doing. Or you build an audience and you have returning customers. Yes. And that's what's like the long-term we work, because you can grow like this very easily and eventually will compound because they cannot like get around your brand, right?
Well, that's if you have high retention, like a dollar in, like let's say you put $1 in, you get a customer out.
Yeah.
If you keep that customer over time, it's going to compound.
Yeah.
You have the same paying customers, and then you're still investing the $1 in versus $1 in customer out, and they only shop with you once. And like no matter where you are in the business, you still have to put $1 in.
Yeah.
It's like you have no reoccurring income,
and that's the long-term vision on it. Right. Most people are not, let's say, willing to wait long in order to just, and let's say, have, let's say, long-term result. They're only like looking at the same with, let's say, having they have a very short time span, to watch specific things on social media. The same is that they don't want to, let's say, wait to get, like, say, long-term results, but it will like maybe start slowly, but eventually you will be way better off than having these kind of results, like, right? So
that even speaks into what we were talking about earlier about consistency.
Yeah.
Let me build a consistent brand with a consistent audience. I absolutely agree, by the way. I do believe that brands are the future and that having an audience will be worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
Moving forward in this world.
And that's all about building a community.
Yes. And it's to that point of like, who do I want to talk to? And what do I want to, like, what value can I offer them? And when you know who am I talking to and what am I bringing to them, your audience will grow automatic, realistically.
Yeah.
Like, let's just put that out. So fun. Fundamental. Do you ever worry about, this is kind of a pivot, I'm going to throw a question out of left field, but around this whole thing of like, you build a big brand and you have a lot of success, like you're a 22-year-old doing millions of dollars of revenue. That's, in the grand scheme of things, very rare. Do you ever worry about this crashing and burning or backfiring? Like you build a big brand, you get canceled, or one day the money dries up or the e-commerce store like shuts down. Is that a concern to you? Is that something that you think about?
To be honest, yes, because I've had a brand prior and it completely failed because of the fact that I didn't do like good enough market research. Even though I thought the product was really good, it ended up like going from like real good into positive with money wise to like 40,000 euros in debt.
Where were you at the peak of it?
Yeah, around. You mean in cash or?
Yeah, like so you just mentioned you had a brand that was doing really well, and
yeah. I did like at that point I did almost like 2 million in revenue.
Wow, dropshippers with that brand
with my with the store that I had.
Wow.
And I wanted to switch it up to a brand, so I basically developed my whole product together with my brother.
Yeah.
We developed it, but we basically we created it from scratch. It was a lot like a design. We designed it ourselves, and that's why it was like so expensive. So we were convinced it was going to work. But eventually, that's what we thought. That's like the emotion that we had with the product,
not the market,
not what the market was willing to pay for it. So it ended up, let's say, getting from bad to worse. And we went from, let's say, high positive to like getting low zero because of that. But that's like the point where I learned the most from, because I do know now whatever I start right now, I take those lessons with me in order to, let's say, have the long-term result. And that's basically where I create the new brand, but I already have an idea, what I'm going to build. And I will do way better things than I did earlier, that it will actually work with also the knowledge that I gained from my past, let's say, lesson of failure.
That's, to know that even at already at 22 years old, you've built up, like you've been able to achieve 2 million in revenue, crash and burn to negative through 40K in debt, and now you're back making 7 figures. Like the fact that you already know you can replicate results and that you're able to get back up from that setback or that failure says a lot about just your character and who you are and your work ethic. And I think that's also great evidence that, even if, like, let's say the stores dry up or the market shifts or you get canceled, whatever, I think that speaks to your character.
And you can only cancel yourself, I guess, because if you give up, then you're the one who you cancel yourself. If you don't give up, you can never lose.
Right. It's like you get knocked down, get back up. But fall down 7 times, get back up.
Sounds you say, but that's true. That's just how it is.
It's so true. And that's you've had that at a very grand scale. It's like, it wasn't that you're trying and failing, it's you're hitting it big. And then everything, like the floor gets swiped from, the rug gets pulled out from under you. You tanked to negative 40 and now you're back.
Yeah.
What do you think are the elements of you've already kind of spoken into it with the perseverance, but what do you think are the elements of the ways of being, your self-identity and your character that's allowed you to go from 7-figure production at early 20s or even late teens, and then a big I'm not going to call it a failure, but setback, and now up to like you're back in the green, all at 22 years old? What do you think is the moral fabric that you're made of, or those ingredients that have allowed you to go big up, setback, big up again? Why do you think you were able to to survive through this.
Yeah, first, you know, like you don't give up, you cannot lose. That's the first thing, of course. But eventually, if I would give up, I always look, I zoom out and I think of, okay, what if I give up right now? What will happen? Like in 5 years from now, I will be maybe working 9 to 5 or things, you know, that I don't want. And, you know, you have to sacrifice sometimes in the moment in order to have, let's say, long-term pleasure, or let's say the thing that you actually want. And most people are not, let's say, they only think about it right now. What can I do right now? Because they want, let's say, to have the short-term pleasures. And what I also was thinking of, okay, look, I'm now in my like early 20s, that time also like my late teens, and I still have to work maybe for like then 40 years or something. Is it worth it to just quit now and let's say maybe regretting at the end of my life, or just putting in the work right now in my 20s and 30s where everyone is maybe partying or let's say in the club, whatever it is.
Yep.
And I don't know where they party for, but that besides it. You know, eventually, if you put in the work right now, I can, let's say, enjoy the good time later. And that's how I see it from it, even though I'm still like enjoying it right now in the moment. But more of, okay, maybe I'm working harder than someone 9 to 5. But eventually, it doesn't feel like work because I love doing what I do. And that's basically, you need to have something that you're feeling, that you're passionate about, and it doesn't feel like work.
Right. Sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the same for you, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's like I am honored to lead such a high performance and to be in the industry we're in. And like something that I always tie back to is like, for me, like everything goes to the people. Like everything about my identity is like, who am I helping? And that's like, you know, do I have some work to do around that? Sure. But I just fucking love helping people. And that can be toxic when like someone doesn't need help. What I do love is like knowing that in me improving our team's efficiency and output then amplifies the voices of our clients. And so our clients are all people that work on social media, that have personal brands. Carlos here, one of our favorite clients to be working with here. Absolutely a delight to work with. Just by the way, Carlos is freaking amazing in a professional setting. And what we get to do is like when our team performs well, our clients get to be put in front of millions of people.
Yeah.
And one of our clients might speak to one person versus another one of our clients might speak to someone else. And so knowing that through working with our team, we get to change millions of lives without even like knowing it, without having to be like there in person. Like I will show up at any hour of the day for any amount of time, for any amount of work to do anything. Like I can take any bad phone call and still show up because I can tie it back to like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Like, why am I working 80-hour weeks as a 22-year-old? Why am I like that's even, you know, people ask me like, oh, you travel so much, like, oh, you're in Amsterdam right now. And it's like, I've been in Amsterdam for 3 days. I flew in on Friday. Today's Sunday. I flew in Friday afternoon and did not leave the hotel until today because I was working all weekend. And people are like, oh, Amsterdam, how's the red light district? Oh, it must be so much fun in Amsterdam. And I'm like, dude, like, I just took meeting. I'm still working.
That's the thing that's behind the scenes, what most people don't see. And that's basically what also most people are not willing to, you know, live it. For example, if you compare it to someone who's would move here to do the work, most of them will get distracted by all the things you could do in other cities. This is the first time you enter, right? So there's so many things you could get distracted of, but you have something that is bigger than, you know, just going out or let's say seeing the city, because you know, okay, I can do that like way more often because you're traveling a lot. That's basically your job. So you know what you're doing it for, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's something.
It's like being able to put on the blinders.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, do I know that there's coffee shops with magic mushrooms that we right over there? Yeah. Red light district right over there? Yeah. And I'm like, do either of those things impact my goals and what I want to do in my life? Okay, is it a positive or negative impact? Unequivocally negative. It's counterproductive. I'm spending money and I'm putting energy and I'm taking in an input, a social input that is reinforcing negative behavior or unproductive. Or I try not to do good and bad, but like behavior that doesn't align with where I want to go.
Yeah.
And that takes into the character thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's like I hate to admit it, but like I still like struggle with like nicotine. And there's moments in my life where like I'll like feel like fuck, like what am I doing? And why am I working so hard? And can I just enjoy everything I've made? And I have to like reset and remind myself like this is so much bigger than it. And even if it wasn't, like even if it like I never helped a single person, and like it's not even about that. It's like the game of and this is I'd love to hear your input of like work hard now, enjoy later. This mindset I have is like no matter how much I make, no matter how many lives I change, no matter what I do with my life, at the end of my life, none of it goes with it. At the end of my life, I'm gonna die either way. I can't take my money, I can't take my fame, I can't take none of the girls, none of the yacht, none of the Bitcoins are coming with me.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, how do I win? Right? Because I'm always focused on like, how do I win? I'm very competitive. And what I've realized is the way to win the game of life is to play the game of life. And to play the game of life, you have to set some kind of like gold. But I read that, right? Like I definitely have these moments where like I do get distracted, like traveling full time.
But you're asking yourself the questions, and that's already a thing, that's you're conscious of. Okay, what I'm about to do right now, is that like in your mind with your goal, like you said, it's and you don't want to do it.
And that's I think like putting the spotlight on the behavior. It's like that's the state of being shift.
Yeah.
Right? It's like when you ask yourself, is this something that will help me get to where I want to go? You're immediately asking yourself, well, how am I showing up? Like the question behind the question is, what is my state of being? Am I indulging in an instant gratification because that's what I want to do right now, or am I focused on something long term? To bring it back to what you asked, or what you made a comment about, like I'm gonna work really hard in my 20s and 30s so that I can enjoy it. Later on, I would love to ask you the question of like, what happens if you don't live that long? Like, I know that the life is fragile. That life can be short.
Yeah. If I would look back at my life, then that's basically the thing. If I would look back and I was just like partying or whatever, just living a normal life, nothing too special, no risks or whatever. That's the only way I could regret it. So what I think of then is, what can I do right now? That can develop me as a person. That's the most important part. Developing yourself as a person that can also, let's say, make the people around you proud, or let's say leave something behind that that really can make a difference. So for example, what I do right now for my own business, that's something I'm focused on. But besides that, as I also started, let's say, helping others, that's basically the thing that will like push me through the hard times. Because sometimes I'm also thinking about, okay, where am I doing it for? And it's not like, business is not always fun, but eventually it's all about, okay, are you still willing to do the work when others are not willing to do it? So for me, it's all about, okay, who am I helping, who am I serving? And if that's actually something like making a difference in someone else's life, then it's already worth it. Because if you change one life, it can compound. They can help others.
Right. Awesome. Thank you, Carlos. I think we're in a good spot to wrap. Do you have any other comments? Where can people find you if they want to reach out? If they want to learn from Cal, what's the best place to get it?
And mostly active on Instagram.
We'll put here.
Short also active on YouTube with just providing value for the people who are actually willing, to grow themselves first as a person, but then also with the business they would like to build, because there are so many opportunities nowadays.
Gotcha.
That I have to. So I will share drop some value there as well.
And where can they find you on Instagram per se?
My tag, my handle. It's CA_Answer.
Alessandro, and 1 L and 1 S, right?
Correct. Yes.
So CA_Alessandro. No 1 S. Perfect. Awesome. Do you have anything else to add?
I think I'm good.
Beautiful. That's a wrap, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.